Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show, obviously episode 178. And in this one, we'll obviously be discussing that Friday night game that we had at Kenilworth Road against Everton. And then we'll also be discussing a bit of news that's come out regarding Nottingham Forest, which is a benefit for us. We have to be honest because, obviously that if they were to get the points back, it is curtains, really. We have to win both our games and hope that they don't, with theirs, really, or at least win one of them. So, yeah, glad that obviously hasn't happened, but we'll get more into that. But yeah, first of all, like I say, the Everton game, like always, I'm joined with Dad. How are we, Dad?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Good. Yeah, big up. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So, Everton, as we all know, now going into it, we were feeling it was a must-win game. Not just us. A lot of people were saying it. Especially Forest did have Sheffield United this weekend, and like I said, if you're going to put a bet on it, you would say Nottingham Forest, just due to how poor Sheffield United have been. Yeah, it's 3 hit, but still, it's one of them you looked at. So really needed to try and win. And also, we didn't know what was going on with their points as well. So, that was another thing to take into account why we said it was a must win. Because if they did get them back, then, it wouldn't look great, especially if it, come out today that they were to do that. But obviously, the lineup, I was surprised in a way, in a good way, obviously, especially the front three, because it was actually what I said in the exact way as well, which was obviously Chong on the right side, Morris on the left, and Elijah up front. Kaminsky in goal, Burke, Mengi, Osho. Fred actually did start this game, which I was a little bit surprised about. Lokonga, Barkley, Doughty, and then, like I say, the rest was the rest there. As for the bench, Berry, Clark, Hashioka, Johnson, Krul, Ruddock, Shea, Townsend, and Woodrow. So, like I say, I was surprised that it was actually the front three I went with in that order. In that way of, the position wise. Was a bit surprised Fred started, but then again, I know, for some people Hashioka's not settled in too great, but again, I just feel, he is actually the right wing back. Obviously Kabore's out, otherwise I would have went with him, and we all would have. But yeah, a bit surprised that Fred started, to be honest. I thought he'd maybe come on. Maybe Hashioka wasn't having a great half, he'd maybe come on in the second half, but other than that, it was what I said. So, yeah, your thoughts on the lineup there?
Yeah, it was interesting. Good front three. I could see it happening. Again, yeah, with Fred, not majorly surprised. I can see why he's obviously been showing in training. He's played when he played against Man City. He was all right. He's looked good in tracking back. Probably maybe more so than Hashioka. So I get that as well. And he actually done all right as well. So, yeah, and we got Elijah starting now. The Conga, we look more of a unit, and hopefully, they have come back in time. Again, to finish off this journey. But yeah, you're going to be pleased with that lineup, and we both wanted to see Elijah and Morris start, and it happened, and Chong on the right as well. Or actually, keep him there, isn't it? But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, building up to it, you have to start them too. Even if you are to play another one with them. And I felt Chong, you couldn't really drop him. It was a bit harsh if you did. So that's why I went with it like that as well. Because I know he can play on that right. We have seen it a few times. I think even when he come on against Liverpool, he might have come on that side, maybe. And obviously a few other games as well. Burnley at home, where he had a really good game, him and Elijah. So, yeah, that was that. But yeah, moving on to the first half. I mean, I wouldn't say we started off the best. Obviously on the watch long, I was saying, they had a few chances. First big chance I would say was the Mengi nearly scored an own goal. Good save by Kaminsky. And yet again, how many times have we said that this season? And then Mengi did, redeem himself, with the block. Again, I do think Kaminsky probably would have saved it. He looked like he had it covered from Ghana, I believe it was, that shot. So, there was their chances there they were having, and you're like, well, that's a bit of a nervy start because we knew, how big the game was to, try and get a result. And then obviously they had their penalty. Now again, we have seen Mengi do this a few times. Again, I don't want to be too critical because he has been good majority of the season. Like I've said, when he come in, Rob Edwards said he wasn't meant to play as much as he has, but obviously because of the defensive injuries and stuff like that, he's had to. But he has done that a few times. Another one that I mentioned that people don't accept because it is Man City's when we played them in the FA Cup. Through Haaland around, and there's ways of doing it. But I think how long he done it for, you can't be doing that. It's as simple as that. And obviously they've got a penalty, from it, VAR check, and it was, you can't complain. And yeah, again, I thought Kaminsky was quite unlucky on the actual penalty. Calvert-Lewin did score. He put it down the middle, but Kaminsky did get slight touch with his feet, but obviously not enough. But yeah, it was a frustrating start, wasn't it? Really, Dad?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we started off okay. To be fair, not but yeah, he has been doing it quite a lot. Normally outside the box and stuff like that. So it was going to be given. A lot of players do it, but they do it and then they let go. By the time the corners took or whatever, they've let go pretty much, or they're not holding him like that much force and stuff. And then Braithwaite obviously threw himself to the floor as well because it's what players do, especially in the Premier League. So it was always going to be given. We knew it would be given. It was annoying. But because we was playing okay, I weren't too phased by it. It was early off in the game. Sometimes we need that to kick us into gear. And then, like I say, Kaminsky nearly saved it as well. So very close. He knew he'd gone the wrong way, but he's still, at the nous to stick his legs out and try and get it away. So it was close, but at the end of the day, if we would have probably been calling for a penalty if it was the other way around as well. So
Mm. And again, this is nothing I do agree with Darth Vader here. With the sense of it happens a lot. You do see that, and it isn't looked at as much as it was in this game. That is something I do agree with. It needs to. And the amount of times I've said this season, right, I've watched a game, a certain challenge has happened that you see in other games happen, and nothing happens. It is a joke. And you look at a different game, and it is given for the same sort of thing. So I do agree. If I look at games now, going forward for the rest of the season, even in the Euros, because obviously we've got that coming up, and I'll see similar things and they're not given, I will be frustrated in that sense. You know, especially with they got VAR and all this. Again, I've seen a lot of people going on about VAR this week. Like I said, I like the concept of it. I just don't like the people that run it. So they're just clueless, half of them. And they just don't know what they're doing properly. And there's certain things with the actual referee where I feel, they're meant to be the center of attention, when it comes to the pit, the officiating, on the pitch and stuff. And they're sort of lenient now, I feel, when they're sort of waiting for VAR to say stuff, and that side of it is quite frustrating as well. I do feel on a lot of things, any for me, anything that goes to VAR, whether it's obvious when you first see it, because the referee is the center of the pitch, I feel they have to see it on the screen. That's just my opinion personally. Because they all got screens in the grounds to have a look at, certain stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And again, another thing I agree with, and we say this all the time, Dad, especially on vlogs from home, Morris has been manhandled literally every single week. You see it. It's so frustrating, yet totally agree. Yeah, exactly. And you can see he gets frustrated, he gets proper vexed. And I don't blame him, because it is a joke. Literally, I remember once a joke you said about it, Dad. you know, he's getting my dry on. But yeah, it's just stupid. Like, They're literally jumping on him. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I even see it happen to Elijah a few times as well. Obviously not as much, but I still see it, and it's just a joke. Like you say, it happens like every single game, and it's just ridiculous to be quite honest with you. So yeah, that's really that on that. Is there anything you want to add on the VAR things, Dad?
Really, I do believe when it comes to the World Cups and that, it's different. It's more. It's
Yeah,
not as people are not interfering as much and things like that, and it is better even in Europe and that. I don't know. It just seems to be the Premier League. Too many egos. Like I've said it before, the way players roll around and that, it's just got worse and worse and worse, and you get whingers and like people like Haaland scored 4 goals and then he's still whinging and that.
like Roy Keane said, yeah.
Yeah, you never used to see things like that, and it's just like everyone's in this whole bubble and that. It is annoying, but you've got to deal with it. Like it will get. I think all offsides are automated when they come in next season, so I think it's like done by some sort of tracking camera or something, and that's it. It's automated, and they can't step in and go, oh yeah, but this, that, and the other. It'll be on a level that they've set it at, and that's it. So that's probably good. That'll help a lot. And then the handballs, it's got to be blatant. None of this, 2 yard stuff. It's hit his hand. It's got to be arm flapping up in the air, or obviously deliberate things like that. Time wasting a little bit, but they change these things all the time anyway. No matter what league you're in, it happens. Like the ball boy thing, where the ball boys were like holding on to the ball and then doing this, that, and the other. Now they've got the multi-ball system, so that can't happen. So they will sort of sort it out. But in the championship, as no one complained and stuff like that, and there weren't, it would have been let go. Like, do you know what I mean? And even in saying certain other games, potentially could have. But if you're doing that, then VAR are constantly looking out for things like that. That's as well. So that's part of the problem. Like, they're going, well, it's too obvious. It's too obvious that he's done that. Yeah, it didn't necessarily affect play, but still, he's done it. So you're not going to get away with it, are
you? No. Yeah. No. Again, I agree. And again, that's another thing I've said as well, and I said it being a couple of hat shows ago, was with the stadium as well. They've got to have you've got to be able to, if you're in the stadium watching it. For me, you've got to be able to see it.
Well, yeah, it's more obvious.
Like, for example, yeah, that's when I said it. When Everton played Liverpool, right? They had that penalty shout, didn't they, at the start? But I think it was Calvert-Lewin. He was offside in the end. They're booing because they think that it hasn't been given because of the challenge. But in reality, he was offside. Do you know what I mean? So stuff like that, they wouldn't be booing as much. Obviously, I get they're up for it. It's the Merseyside derby, etc. But they wouldn't be booing as much for that incident. Do you know what I mean? So there's stuff like that as well. But yeah, what you gonna say, Dad?
Oh yeah, some of them are obvious. Like even people in Kenilworth Road would have seen them. It was because what Menji done. You know what I mean? It's a bit obvious whether you like it or not. But yeah, maybe like I don't know. They'll try and manage something. There's been talk about you get 2 challenges, like even you do when someone calls the ball out in tennis and that, because they use Hawkeye and they still call it out and go no. Or no, actually, the lino calls it out and then it gets checked by VAR in tennis or whatever. But that's pretty much fault proof. You could appeal, but that's just going to make it even longer. Do you know what I mean? Say it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It won't take, say 5 minutes, yeah, for them to find it. Well, offside to be automated, so be anything else. So like a handball, for instance, and it's questionable, and they give it, and you go, no, so they give it, and then you've got to immediately appeal, obviously, before they take a penalty or whatever they've got to do. And then what are they going to do? Is someone else going to look at it? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
They just need to set the rules a bit more straight, more consistency. That's the thing. That's it.
Yeah.
Got to deal with it. Once you know that you ain't getting anything for that handball, you only get it for a blatant handball. Even if they've done that, well, it has to be blatant. He has to literally bat it away with his hand, otherwise it's not handball. Then everyone will know. Don't matter if it touches his hand. He's got to literally save it like a keeper for it to be handball. And then Falk on. They're not this. It's penalties as well. Subjective. Just got to be proper blatant. If there's any doubt whatsoever, don't give it. And everyone will know where they stand. You know what I mean? What else can you do? That's what referees had to do with their own eyes. You know what I mean? If they weren't sure it was a penalty, they weren't giving it. Even if the replay showed on Match of the Day that, it should have been. And that's the problem. Unless it was blatantly obvious, then and that's what it needs to be more again. They need to look at the other leagues where VAR isn't involved, and see the margin for error and that in them games, and it's much less probably because you're letting the referee do his job more, the line line and all that. Whereas now it's you just looking too deep into it, looking for any reason. Before we had that, they've stopped it now. But if there was a foul leading up to the goal or whatever, they'd done that a couple of times, didn't they? And they were like, "Oh," and it was fucking like a minute before, like it weren't going to affect the play basically. And they went, "No, you can't be doing things like that. It's done. It's gone. Time frame's gone." So things like that. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, moving on to when they went 1-0 up, I thought we responded really well, in the game, and I said that on the watch along. Obviously, we did get the equaliser. As the next talking point, Doughty done really well to win the ball. I thought he had a really good game in this game. His crosses were what we're used to seeing. He done well to win the ball back. And again, I would say since that Man City game, we've seen him proper, defend well, win the ball back at times and stuff like that. Again, he obviously did that for the goal. And then it's obviously fell out to Osho. Osho played it to Lokonga. And for me, that was a similar goal in a way of so the cross was like Lokonga's against Brighton to Chio for the second goal. And then the finish was, I said it on a watch along, like Elijah's goal against Burnley, but obviously a bit further out, as in the home game. In the sense of he's controlled it and then, turned and finished it. Absolutely brilliant. What a cross it was, what a finish. And Ashley Young went flying, absolutely went all over the gaff. Elijah, brilliant strength and a great goal. And, like commentary said, we've been missing him. Simple as that, especially for stuff like that, wasn't it, Dad?
Yeah, we definitely missed him. He scored again. The Con guy, he's got that range of passing. He's that obviously Barkley has as well, but it shows we missed him. Let alone Elijah, we missed the Congo as well. It's gonna be unfortunate if we do go down, and we definitely might be keeping hold of him. He's got good ambition. He wants to get his place at Arsenal, and with passes like that, then I saw Elijah. It was good in the build-up because we were fighting to keep hold of the play. That's what we want to see. Getting the ball, that the Luton way. That as the end of the was it the Bournemouth game? No, not the Bournemouth game. The Wolves game, sorry. Last 15 minutes. We continued that into this game. It was a good home performance, definitely. And they were fighting and Doughty and Chong together. And then Osho the calmness and stuff. We're playing like we were when we were on form. And you never know, it could have come at the right time. But Elijah called for it. Wasn't phased. Held his line really well because the amount of times he used to get called offside in previous games. Don't think we had any offsides in this game. And just he's really confident at the moment. Really, really confident. And it was great finish and straight away as well. Yeah, pleased with that.
Yeah, going to the offsides thing. Yeah, and surprisingly, none of us were offside. Us all them, which is pretty crazy. It's rare you see that in football games for sure. So yeah, no, absolutely. Again, like I say, Cross reminded me of his against Brighton, Chio, and then the finish just reminded me of his against Burnley, but obviously further out. And yeah, great goal. And then obviously we had a lot of confidence. Doughty again with another really good cross into the box. Morris with the header was cleared. It looked like it was maybe going in. It maybe could have went posting in. But yeah, it's quite unlucky, to be honest. Like again, you could see we had a lot of confidence, from getting that goal. And yeah, that was really it from the half. Going into it, I remember saying on the watch along, I felt we could win the game now because we'd have a lot of confidence, and you could see it towards the end of getting that goal after that how dominant we were, in my opinion. But yeah, moving on to the second half. Again, Everton, I'd say they sort of started off similar to the first half in the sense of having some, chances. Harrison, deflected shot, good save from Kaminsky. Again, we know deflected shots can be a bit difficult at times. So, I was saying on the watch on how has that even fell down like towards that sort of direction. But, Kaminsky done what he had to tip it over. And then obviously he had another good save as well from Calvert-Lewin. One thing I've always rated about Calvert-Lewin is his aerial presence, especially headers. He's always been good at that. Obviously he had an opportunity, good save. Again, tipped over by Kaminsky. Again, really good game from him. Like it has been majority of the season, really good saves. And then Berry comes on again. Since that Everton game in the FA Cup, he's put in a shift every time he's come on. Even got a few goals, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, even though the game was done, he still scored in that game. And he's just put in a shift. And obviously in this game, come on, had a few moments. The header, the flick on header, good save by Pickford. It could have went anywhere. It's one of them headers. Then he had the overhead kick. Jeez, that was actually going in. That was crazy the way he just done it out of nowhere. Imagine if that went in, that would have been absolute scenes, mate. Obviously, Kaminsky was coming up for them as well. I mean, I was a bit nervy, even though I felt, again, it was similar to the end of the first half in the sense we had momentum, towards the end of it. Again, but both very similar halves. Everton started both of them well, I'd say, but then we grew into it, but, towards the end of both of the halves. Kaminsky come up. Obviously, you're always worried just in case, you don't quite get the cross in you wanted to, and then they have the opportunity to hit you on the break. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But yeah, like I say, Berry had that chance. Oh, cleared away. It was going in as well. It'd been absolutely crazy if he scored that. For me, that would have topped his two late on goals he got at Blackburn away. When we was in the Championship, definitely. That would have been absolutely crazy. And then obviously the last big chance we had was the Doughty cross, which fell to Townsend, and it was going in. Again, cleared away. I mean, as it says in the title, how did we not win that game? But at the same time, I do have to give some credit to Everton. I feel like obviously defended really well. Especially on them last three big chances we had. Pickford save. Two blocks on the other two chances. But yeah, it was just gutting in the end. At least we didn't lose it. Because if we lost it, that's not even at least a point. But at the same time, I was gutted coming out of that. Yeah, especially for the sense of obviously it was the last watch along this season. Still didn't quite witness that win, but we come close to it. And again, Dad, like you said, it was a much improved performance. Linked alongside that Wolves, last 15 minutes, and like you said earlier, the fight and the determination. At least that was there. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a game that I was frustrated with the players. It was a game where I was just frustrated that we just couldn't put it in. But it wasn't like it was at the start of the season where we were missing good chances. It was just, they defended really well. Everton. To be fair to them, let's be honest. So, yeah, what was you going to say there, Dad?
No, just carry on for a second.
Yeah, no, that was it. That was it. All I wanted to say on it. But what did you make of the second half?
Yeah, again, like probably one of the best performances we've had away. I mean, at home. Sorry, for a while. Kaminsky again pulling off excellent saves, and then the fight still being there, and every one of our set pieces was looking dangerous, and that's what we were about. And I think because Lukonga was getting involved in that as well, and pumping the ball up to Elijah and in them dangerous areas. So we looked good, and everyone come on as well as the players that was on the pitch, actually, put in that effort, was really what I liked is how their concentration levels. If they can maintain that for the next 2 games, we've got a great chance of staying up. And yeah, very unlucky, what guy, and even Townsend right near. They would scramble it, desperate, kind of not desperate, but whacking the ball away, and we was just unlucky in the end. And I think Rob Ed was just feeling that possibly at that moment that Forest get any points back, but now it's on, it's game on again, isn't it? And that will give them a boost. And you can't really grumble at that performance. You can say we've done that a lot this season where we've just missed out and this, that, and the other, But they gave it, If they fight like that till the end of the season, you can't say anything. And hopefully, I think we'll go to that game of the season. If it goes to the last game of the season, you can't really ask for more, can you?
No.
That means you've been written off. You're going to get worse points than Derby. You're going to do this, that, and the other. And if Forest hadn't had points deductions, we wouldn't be in it. But at the end of the day, we've had a lot of injuries at crucial times, which I think would have steered us away. If Lukonga and the Cambar and that, if the options that we were putting youngsters on the bench for game after game after game. If we had the options that we got now, I reckon we would have been fine. Or we'd have just been we'll be closer to Forest and still fighting, whatever. Definitely. So they just got to carry on, and who cares? At the end of the day, at least everyone knows where they stand now. And Forest, they've got to go into that game against Chelsea. I think the Forest are at home, and they.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Chelsea are on absolute fire at the moment, and they're pushing for that.
They could end up getting a European space after their shocking season.
Yeah, they're kicking goals and that, and I can see Forest scoring and things like that. But I just think Chelsea have just got too much, and after smacking West Ham like that, they beat Everton 6-0 as well. If they're right, and they're really doing that a lot at the moment, so. I can't really. I wouldn't. If it was us playing Chelsea, I'd be like, that's it. So I think if we can, and West Ham in the other direction. End of the season, last home game, Moyes is going. Be flat. Players don't know who they're going to be there next season. Yeah, they've got some decent players and that, but are they really fighting as much as we're going to be? Can't see it, and they haven't. They've won once in 10 games or twice in 12, whatever. They're in a really bad run of form. So we've got a chance to get at least a point, and then goes to the last game of the season, then, doesn't it? And you never know what's going to happen with Burnley, Tottenham. Because Tottenham ain't in great form themselves. You'd expect them to beat Burnley like Newcastle did, but if Burnley have got something to fight for in the last day as well, then all we that would give us even better chance. But the chances are Tottenham probably will turn it around.
Yeah, I think it will.
As long as we get a positive result, then we take it to the last day, and that's it. And then it's in our hands. We're on. Fulham are beatable, definitely. We owe them one anyway. Great games with them in the past. Elijah, the history. We finish on 30 points, etc., etc. So it maps out, doesn't it? But we'll see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's another thing I've said. About getting into that Fulham game too much. Like you say, we only lost 1-0 at their ground, and you look at a lot of teams that went there and lost 5-0. This season, Forest, West Ham, just to name a few. So, it's one of them. And again, that was early on, wasn't it? Very early on in the season, I remember. So yeah, again, it's at Kenilworth Road as well, but got to get something at West Ham first, for me. So yeah, but that's that on the game as a whole. Darth Vader says Lukonga is going back to Arsenal this summer. Even if we stay up, can't see him staying. From what he's saying, he has unfinished business. Yeah, exactly. And I have seen a few Arsenal fans going, "Oh, he can't get in on midfield." I think he can. I think it could be Rice, Odegaard, and him. I can't see no reason why it can't be. Thomas Partey's quite injury prone. I do rate him, but he's quite injury prone. They're playing Havertz higher up, aren't they? So I can't see no reason why. Jorginho's a rotational player. So I can't see no reason why he can't get in their starting midfield, to be honest, alongside them two. But yeah, no, I do agree. I do agree. And again, if we tried, mate, it's going to be a lot of money, isn't it? And, we probably not going to do that. So I do agree. Yeah, moving on to the player ratings. So obviously, starting off with Kaminsky. To be fair, the more I think about it, it could be up there for a man of the match because of his saves, to keep us in the game, with getting that point in the end. But he's not quite mine, but he is up and around there for the conversation. And yeah, really good game, better game than the Wolves game, definitely. He was actually up there, towards the end of this game, whereas Wolves obviously was, playing it around, doing that short thing with Lukonga, which was frustrating. But yeah, good performance from him, Kaminsky in this game. So I'm gonna go for 7 for Kaminsky.
Well, I thought, at the end of the day, you kind of can. He did keep us in the game multiple times. If they'd have scored that, we'd probably, we'd be staffed, wouldn't we, if we'd have lost that game. But yeah, I thought he was decent, back to, consistent. A lot of Premier League teams going to be checking him out. We're in this same with Mengi and that. We've only just signed him, but we can command money for them. They want to go. If these teams want them and they want to go, then we can command good money for them, and we will reinvest that. So, but yeah, 7.5, close to being man of the match to me.
Yeah,
there was a few.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, of course. Jackie says Kaminsky 8. Big up to Jackie as well. Big up to Paul as well. He says 8 for Kaminsky as well. So yeah, that's that when it comes to that. Moving on we'll go over to Burke. Again, it was a better performance from him. He didn't do any silly things in this game or anything like that. Can't even really remember too much of him in the game, but in a good way, in the sense of, like I say, there was no silly things like the Wolves game, for example. When he obviously on the first goal. So yeah, and it's a good opportunity for him. I feel against West Ham. Because he probably will start most likely. Because of all the other injuries at the back, and like I say, it's his former club, so good opportunity for him. To showcase his skills and that. So yeah, for me, I'm going to go. I can't, like I say, I can't remember too much, so I'm just going to go over 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. Thought he was making some good forward runs. He was more consistent. He wasn't panicking. He didn't make any mistakes like he has been in certain games. Not necessarily mistakes, but poor decisions. Solid, and that's what we're used to seeing from him. So that was good. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, Jackie has gone with the same as well. Paul's gone with a 7.5. So yeah, and then moving on, we'll go over to Mengi. Not the best of games, compared to what he has had. See the penalty incident. I don't really put too much on the own goal, but let's be honest, if we didn't have Kaminsky in goal, that was probably, probably maybe going in.
Yeah.
So not the best of games, from him. But again, I'm not going to go too low, because then again, he did redeem himself with the block, from the own goal as well, when the shot fell back out to Garner. So again, I'll go with the same as Burke. I'll go with 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. Same sort of reading. The penalty, you just don't do it. It's naive, but but other than that, he won't. Yeah, he come close to own goal. But other players have scored them goals, But on the other hand, he made some good clearances and things like that, and he's still pretty consistent, and I hope he is here next season, regardless of what league we're in.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I'll give him a 7, and he's
Yeah.
a proper fighter, and that's it. So he's going to be, and he had a chance himself. He's the sort of player that will probably score against West Ham. So
Yeah, you never know set pieces. But yeah, no, fair enough. Paul's gone with a 7.5. And Jackie is agreeing with me. She's gone with a 6.5. She did put stupid bear hug. Yeah, it's stupid. You can't do it for that long. Like you can do it. You have seen players do it, but for too long, it's just it's just obvious, really. And yeah, there wasn't appeals, but at the end of the day, it's VAR, so they're going to look at it, and it's frustrating. I mean, like I said on the watch long, I see it from both sides because he wasn't really appealing, but at the same time, he is proper holding on to him. You know what I mean? And if you look back at it, you can tell he's sort of like, get off me sort of thing. So yeah, it's one of them. It's annoying. But yeah, moving on to Osho. If I'm being honest, I probably thought he was the best out of the three in this game. I thought he was really, really good. And, he has been pretty consistent, to be fair. You still got to think, he didn't play a first Premier League game for a while. I remember he had them few games, didn't he? His second one was against Liverpool, wasn't it? And he was immense. I remember that. But yeah, this game I felt he was decent. The better ones out of the back three for me. So for me, I'm going to go with a 7 for Osho.
I thought it was probably slightly better. I'll give him a 7.5. Thought he was confident. He's really grown into the Premier League. Again, another one that people will be looking at. And the thing is, I said to you off air or whatever, his contract's up in the summer. So if the Premier League comes into him and we're not in the Premier League, then he's gone. So that, he deserves it as well. But yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, and I remember there was quite a lot of links in January with him. I see Aston Villa were monitoring him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But obviously, we hope we keep hold of him. But like you say, Dad's contract's up, so we'll see what happens with him. Again, Jackie's gone with the same as me. He's gone with 7. But yeah, moving on we'll go over to Fred. Again, like I said, I was surprised he started. Now I know he's obviously had good games, especially in that position in the Premier League, considering he's come in so late. I just felt, he's not actually a right wing back, so I thought maybe Hashioka would still be in just for that reason. Like nothing against Fred or anything like that. But yeah, he was decent. Decent. Can't think of too much wrong from him in the game. So I think I'm going to go with another 7. To be honest with you.
7. Playing big pressure game as well, and you got to be fair to him, as we said, like he hasn't really done anything wrong, has he? If anything, he's tried too hard a couple of times to get perfect pass and that, but he ain't done anything wrong compared to other players. And he coming late in the season as well, so yeah, maybe, and I get it. He probably, chances are, he more likely finish the season with us. Like maybe he might even get another contract, especially if we go down. I think I could see him getting another contract, to be fair. But 7.
Yeah, I've said it before. If we are to keep him, I do want to see, him be able to play higher up because it is, it's his main position, as we know. And then, like I've said, even when we had, we were doing really well in the Championship, I've always felt we've had to have cover in that right wing back role, and that's always one position we haven't quite always had it. We've either had it one player, but then there's never that other option, is there? Really? Well, there is, but not of an actual player that naturally plays there, sort of thing. So, yep, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's interesting there. Fred's rating 7.5, says Paul, and Jackie's gone with 7 as well. And then moving on, we'll go with Doughty. Like I say, good game from him. Good crosses. Definitely one of his better games. In the last couple of weeks. Like I say, done well on the first goal. To win the ball back. For us, good crosses into the box. Like you said, Dad, every set piece we had, we looked dangerous, which is good because we know it's our attacking strong point. Hopefully, we can bring that on into the last 2 games because we're going to need to, especially when we do have them opportunities. So, yeah, good game from Doughty again, for me, could be up there for a man of the match. So I'm actually going to go for Doughty. I'm going to go for 7.5.
Yeah, same 7.5. He was really, lively in this game. Didn't look like lethargic like he had in previous games, and hopefully he's going to, regardless of if he stays with Luton or at the end of the season, like he'll give it his all for the last two games if he can carry on like that. Yeah, definitely. Like, it was really, best performance we've seen from for a few games. Definitely 7.5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Paul's also gone with 7.5 for Doughty. Again, so is Jackie as well. So we're all agreeing there. Moving on we'll go over to Lukonga first. I'll say great ball for the goal, and he is going to be very influential, in these next two games. Of course, especially when he's out here doing things like that. I felt the midfield was a lot more stable with him in it, and it's not because anything with Ross Barkley. It's just that's not his main position, is it? As we know, and he's done really well there. But you need someone like that alongside him, and yeah, really good performance. Much better than the performance against Wolves from him. So I'm gonna go with 7 again.
I think he was really good. He's close to being man of the match to me. Just looking for it, I said in the preview that maybe Barkley would be looking spraying them passes out to Elijah and that, but didn't quite happen. I think he was against his former club, and he was all right, but I expected probably a bit better from him. But Lokonga really stepped up, and he got that great assist, and then he was in both boxes. He was all over the place. He's close to being up there for me. I'm going to give him a 7.5.
Yeah, fair enough. Paul's gone with the 8. Jackie again, the same as me at 7. Moving on to Barkley. Again, he had a couple shots. Again, we maybe thought he would, maybe get a goal in this game. Not me necessarily, but I know a few people did. Former club. He was okay, but he's, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. In the last few games, not been as good as he has been majority of the season. For me, I'm going to go. I think for Barkley, I'm just going to go with a 7. To be quite honest with you, in this game, maybe lower, but I'm going to go over 7 for Barkley in this game, and I know Jackie's gone with the same as well as 7. And Paul is also where was his 8? He's gone with the 8 for Barkley. Okay, interesting there. But yeah, for me, like I say, he had a couple shots, but he's just not been quite the same. But again, he's still a player you would start. Definitely. No question about that whatsoever. But yeah, I don't know. He's just not quite been the same for me. So I'm gonna go.
Yeah, last few games, but he weren't terrible. He did it. But it was 7.
Yeah,
Still waiting for that banger, mate. I'm still waiting for that banger.
we need it to happen, man. We need it to happen. Seriously, we really do. But yeah, moving on to the higher up players, we'll start off with Chong. He is my man of the match. I thought he was really, really good in this game. Did get a yellow card, but I'm not even looking at that, man. Seriously, usually I look at it with players and it minuses their rating. No, not for me in this game. Absolutely phenomenal. Taking players on. He's very good at that. I did say to start him on that right hand side. I think he saw why. Obviously Rob Edwards knows better than me, of course, but I just felt it would work. Especially with how he's been. Elijah and Morris in there as well together. And yeah, it was really good for him. Just putting pressure on Everton, man. They were struggling. Him and Doughty were working very well. And it was interesting because obviously Doughty's on the left as well. Chong was on the right side. So it's interesting there. But again, you can't drop him. You can't drop him. Man of the match for me. It's just quality. And shame he didn't quite get a goal or assist, but that tells you a lot. He didn't do that, and he's my man of the match. And we drew the game, stuff like that. So yeah, man of the match for me. So based on that, I'm gonna go over 8 for Chong.
Yeah, he's my man of the match. And it really, really stood out the whole game as well. Every time he was going forward, he just looked really dangerous. And ironically, I went with Morris up front, Elijah on in playing in Morris's position, and I don't know if I did. Did I have Townsend on the right? Did I actually drop Chong?
Yeah, you
But,
did, yeah.
It was only because I wanted to cater for Elijah. Do you know what I mean? But
And he's got that experience, Townsend, as well.
it worked out for Chong, yeah. But Morris in that position, he was quite quiet, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? He won a few knockdowns and that, but he weren't nowhere near as lively as he is when he is up front. But yeah, the previous game, Chong weren't really in it, was it, as much? But this one, he run him ragged, and you can see why we've signed him now. We knew anyway, but he's really showing that capability, and actually, in the latter part of the season, he's been one of the standout players for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is my man of match, and I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, I'd agree. Very good. Very, very good in this game. Like Paul says here, I'd have to agree. Man of match, best game for Luton this season. And, he didn't even score or anything. So that tells you a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, before that, I would say it's probably Liverpool, just because I was against Liverpool at the time. They were obviously doing very well. He's come on and scored. But I'd have to agree. Like you said, Dad, he was just causing havoc, the whole game. Literally up until he obviously come off. So yeah, that's Jackie says Chong excellent 8. Yeah, exactly that. And then moving on to Morris. Again, he had that header, after the goal. Quite unlucky. Good to see that he's, being that physical, aerial, using that aerial presence, as we know he's very good at that. And yeah, obviously we know Elijah being in benefits him as well, for their playing styles and things like that. And yeah, I felt it was a decent game for Morris in the game. So I'm going to go with we'll go with a 7 for Morris.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. He was still effective, still the captain. Get the whole team played, as well as they have at home for a while. And yeah, he's definitely plays better when Elijah's there as well. But he was more just sort of, he knew he weren't the main man, so he was just trying to win the knockdowns and stuff. And he was being marked a bit, and they kind of knew that was going to happen. But him and Elijah up like that for the next game, I don't see that. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's got to be. You've got to go for it now.
I say that because Everton's defense is good. West Ham's defense is not great. I tell you, it's not that good,
No, it's not. When you think about it,
quite a few goals in the last 15 games.
And I look at a lot of the goals Chelsea scored as well. They're simple over the top passes.
Yeah.
So
and now we've got them options. We could definitely score goals against them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, there's the rating there for Morris. 7.5 says Jackie. Paul has also gone with the same there. And then moving on to Elijah. Again, really good goal. We've missed him for that type of thing. Shout out to him. Obviously he's got double figures. It just makes me think, man. Imagine if he didn't get that injury. He'd have a few more goals, man.
Yeah, I'd say at least 15, 16.
Yeah, I was thinking at least 13 to 15. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, no, brilliant. Again, it's going to be interesting. Like I say, see who gets that. Top goal scorer, him or Morris. Be sick if they, both had the same. But it's sick anyway that they've both got double figures. In the Premier League, first season's in there. Like I said on the watch long, 20 goals between the two of them. That's really good. Especially position we are in as well. That is really good. So fair play to both of them. But yeah, great finish. And yeah, missed him. So I'm gonna go 7.5 for Elijah.
Yeah, all day long. Like his intent was clear. Like he's really confident as well. And I said, like, I think before the season, I said similar thing. If he gets confident and that, he'll run defenses ragged. The thing is, it's took us a lot too long. It has, to be fair, to work out, but the injuries didn't help to work out certain things in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? But we've got 2 games left. We kind of have got enough. I think we've got enough now within that squad. I know we've still got other injuries in that, but I think now we've got enough to do it. And he's a massive, massive part of it. It's crazy, but yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good from him again. Coming in. Elijah 8 says Paul. Jackie's gone with 7.7 for Elijah. And then the 3 subs, all attacking subs. To be honest, I'm probably all going to give them the same rating. I felt they were all very impactful when they were
good, yeah. For me, I'll just say straight up 7.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say for all of them. Yeah, 7. They all come on and try to make things happen. I thought maybe, that off chance where Woodrow got it and crossed it in. I was thinking, oh, is that going to be like Bournemouth again? Because it's very similar, wasn't it? The sense of a goal from that. But yeah, Berry, very unlucky, like I said, with the overhead kick, the header as well before that. And Townsend, obviously, very unlucky at the end. That was going in. So, yeah, they all get a 7. All get a 7 from me as well. So, yeah, based on that, Dad, Chong is now top of our thing.
Well, that's the whole point, because we started that late in the season, didn't we? And that's why I said
it goes back to what you said. Yeah.
Now most effective player out of all of that, them injuries and that just proves it, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah. So he's now top by 2, ahead of Barkley. So yeah, that's that. As for the points, it's still 10-9. Obviously, we both thought we would sneak that win. We could have, really could have with them chances at the end. But again, I'm not disappointed with our performance, because it was up there. It really was good. It just didn't get that goal, and it was just frustrating because at the time as well, you're worrying. Let's be honest, because you think maybe Forest will get points back. But yeah, that moves us on swiftly to that news, which has come out today. Appeal has failed. And yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm not really surprised. I do think as much as it's not necessarily to do with it, I think the way they come out in that statement as well, you sort of think, well, why do you deserve to get points back? You're making a bizarre statement like that. I think that also has a bit to play, as much as they, the people won't come out and say that. And obviously, it's a benefit for us. We have to be honest. Like I say, it's a good opportunity. I am pretty confident, to be honest, now that we can still stay up. Obviously, if they were to get back, you are nervous. You just are, because it's not really any way back. You have to win both your games. You have to. So yeah, I'm obviously happy about the news, and yeah, it's good. It's good, because it gives us a chance that we're still in it. But yeah, Dad, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's massive. It's going to be a massive boost for our players and Rob Edwards, because I could see that after the Everton game, he was like he looks a bit beaten. I could see it because then we knew it becomes tougher. The chances are Forest would beat Sheffield United, and they did. And if and because Everton got points back, you'd think that Forest might, but Evans, they had a second argument, I think. So they got whatever they got, but they stuck. So now the chances are that Everton won't get their 2 points back either. Can't see it. And that's how it should be.
Worry anyway. Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Forest were lucky they only got 4 points in the first place, because they were looking at 8, I think, or 6 at least. If they'd got 6, we'd be pretty cruising right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and it's good to see that, yeah, if you appeal, they're trying that you won't get your points back. So that was good to see. They can't do anything. They know where they is now. I think they were kind of relying on that a bit still. That'll give them a little bit of pressure. They know they've got Chelsea. Chelsea ain't no mugs at the moment, particularly. They're on a bit of a roll. And I've said it before, if them players start gelling and you know, they are young, if they start going in the right direction, they're going to be dangerous. And Jackson's really, you know, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's really picked up. You know, you've still got Cole Palmer still looking to final push to guarantee his place in that England squad. Them kind of things will make an effect. So, you know, they've got to go at it. And they probably will play all right. They probably will score and that. But I just think Chelsea at the moment score goals for fun. So the pressure's definitely on them. We've got you know, we won't get into it too much, but I've always thought that we could get a point anyway. And now, you know, a lot's going on at that club. They haven't won for ages. The manager's going. Players won't necessarily know. There'll be players that get on with him and players that don't, but there'll be a lot of players that do probably get on with him. I think there's a bit of unrest there in certain things. The signing of Phillips was a disaster when it potentially shouldn't have been. I think that's really affected the club as well. And if we go there with the right attitude and play like we have been and combine all of our performances, our excellent performances into them last two games, and I think we could do it. But you know, it's good. It's good. And I almost feel like it's meant to be as well. But, you know, let's see what happens. It makes it more interesting, even for Burnley. It makes it interesting for them now because they can effectively, if they'd have got points back, Burnley basically would have been relegated. Definite, you know, a basic goal difference or whatever. But they've still got a slight chance. Tottenham ain't been great recently. Burnley, you know, had some previous good results. Anything's possible. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, definitely do agree. And yeah, like I say, obviously seeing that, it was, you know, you'd be happy if you're a Hatter. You know, not trying to say that stupid thing they said on FIFA a couple of years ago, but
yeah, the way they said it. The way they said it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's you know, because we're still in it. You know, we're still in it, and I believe there, especially like you say, that without getting into it too much, West Ham, they are, you know, not looking great. You know, defensively. For me, they've only got two players that are really playing for the badge. Really, in my opinion, Bowen and Kudos.
And we should have got a point against. We should have got
exactly, and that's what I said to you, didn't I? Before we went on there, yeah, it was different. You know, kind of a throw, but you know, at the same time, it's no offense, you know, but it's not like, you know, their stadiums like playing at Anfield or you know, the Etihad or somewhere like that, is it? Do you know what I mean? So you can still go there and get a result. We have to, you know, whether that's a point or not. You know, if we lose that game, then it's curtains. You know, it's as simple as that. It is because, you know, Forest are a point ahead of us now. Say, for example, even if they did lose, they'll probably beat Burnley in my opinion. Because me personally, obviously, I do my predictions on Friday, but I do think Tottenham will bounce back and beat Burnley. It might not be easy, but I just think they will. You know, they're at home. You know, they might even make it difficult for themselves because you know what they're like. But I do think they will probably win that. So yeah, and then that's Burnley out of the equation, really, if we're being honest. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind if I'm wrong if we get a result, you know, because then that means that game versus Forest is massive, and we will obviously keep an eye on that as much as we're playing at the same time on that day, like everyone else is. So it's all interesting there. And also, sorry, I nearly forgot to read this. Darth Vader's ratings. He said everyone gets a 7 except Chong and Elijah, who gets 8s. Yeah, that's fair enough. You know, that's fair enough. Like most of ours was 7, to be honest. And yeah, Chong is definitely up there. When it comes to that. Big up to Hurley Doors, who is in the chat. He says we're in the mud. Yeah, it's not looking great. I'm not going to get too confident though, because what I've seen is a lot of people get confident in games when they play, you know, teams when they're not in the best of moments, and then it comes back and don't age well. So, you know, it's without getting into it too much. I'm not going to be too confident. You know, we still have to respect that they are a decent team. You know, they're not in the mud. They're not like a Sheffield United. I mean, they're still a decent team. You know, so let's not get too complacent.
Not in the mud. Like it's just the atmosphere and that around it. You know what I mean? Once Moyes goes and they've already got a manager lined up, haven't they? And that.
Yeah.
then they'll be all right. But they're not going to be super motivated. If we put it on them, then we can definitely get a result.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would agree with that definitely. With that, especially with our attacking players, it's just how will we do defensively is the only thing for me in that game. We'll see. Obviously, I'm not getting into it too much, but what you gonna say, Dad?
I think we'll be all right.
No, yeah, I think we'll be all right. It's just we do like to have our moments, but again, both defenses ain't been great. To being honest, in last couple, obviously we have had our moments every now and then. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but obviously won't get into that too much when it comes to that. But Dad, any final things you'd like to say about anything?
No, we're still there. I think let's all. I hope we get that 30 points at least. Hopefully more, But if it works out that way, then like I said before, it's sort of closing out the chapter in it then, and then you're still in the Premier League, and that's it. That's when you proper work.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, last thing I was going to say, 2 years ago today, Dad, we had that game against Reading that we was at. Shout out to obviously Alex for helping us go to that game, but obviously that was playoffs, and that was to confirm it. Obviously, we didn't actually need to win in the end because Middlesbrough lost or something like that, or didn't get a win at least, and it helped us. Obviously Cornick getting probably the weirdest, well, no, not probably, the weirdest goal I've seen in person. Obviously sneaked up behind the keeper and obviously put it in. And yeah, man, Fulham could be like that in a sense, but to stay up potentially, we will see. I do think it could be that type of game, maybe. Not necessarily a goal like that, but score 1 goal win for someone or tight game, etc. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when we play West Ham first. So yeah, it's all interesting. It's all interesting there. But yeah, big up to everyone that's tuned in. Don't forget to smash a like if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel as well. A few new subscribers from the watch along as well. So obviously do appreciate that. As for content coming up, obviously we have a preview on Friday to the West Ham game. And yeah, as it stands, probably a vlog from home. But yeah, obviously I'll let you lot know Friday for sure what's going on with that. And yeah, that's it really. That's it. Subscribe to the extra channel as well. And yeah, all of that. So big up to everyone that's tuned in. Smash a like, subscribe, follow me across all my socials. And yeah, until Friday, we will see you lot in a bit. So take care and peace.